right, y'all. Welcome back to another exciting and tasty episode of Foodies and Friends on Fox 26 and Fox Local. If y'all haven't downloaded the Fox Local app now, what are you waiting for? All of our past episodes are available for viewing, and stay up to date with all of the news happening in the world. Very easy if you've got an Android phone or what's the other one? iPhone. That's mine. I've got an iPhone. I've only had it my whole life. The app works on the iPhone as well. All right, you guys. Today, y'all, come on. I am so excited. I have been hearing about this restaurant. They just opened about 6 months ago. We are in River Oaks. We are right next to the iconic River Oaks Theater. Y'all know we are at Leo's here on West Gray. Brand new restaurant, y'all. It is so beautiful. Joining us is the executive chef, Tim Reading, the general manager, Scott Smith. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, I mean, y'all have been crushing. Busy. I hear about Leo's all the time.
We've been doing well.
You've been doing well.
It's easy way to
This is exciting. Beautiful restaurant. I'm going to show you guys. I'm not sure you can see the chandeliers. Also behind chef, some beautiful booth seating with incredible green velvet. Yeah, I grew up with green velvet. I love
That's
green
my
velvet.
first time with it.
Oh, yes. We're so lucky.
That's been nice, yeah.
Really lucky.
Not too bad.
Doesn't everybody grow up with green velvet? I don't know, but
if they don't, they should.
Let's go. Let's go. High five. Starting the show off. All right, so let's just go right over on the foodie cam. I feel like this is going to be a wild one, but we're gonna keep it tame. We're white tablecloth. We've got some important dishes here. All right, chef, you're up. What are we looking at?
Absolutely. So first from the top is our deviled egg trio. It comes with the poached lobster, the caviar, and then finally the smoked salmon. What's interesting is that all these are different fillings that are according to what they go with. So, for example, the caviar is a creme fraiche with chive filling to match the caviar. And then we have a Philadelphia cream cheese filling and caper cream cheese filling for the smoked salmon. And then finally, we have a mayonnaise-based deviled egg filling for the lobster. So you have three different kinds of filling, three different toppings. I know usually restaurants just put some cool toppings on there, but we went a step ahead and we're doing three different fillings, three different toppings. And this has been a really big mainstay here for the happy hour that we do serve. And then below that is our pan-seared octopus with a cucumber kimchi. And then a ají amarillo sauce, and both with the spiciness from the ají amarillo and the cucumber kimchi, which it's not actually fermented. We actually make a dressing and then just marinate the cucumbers. We don't ferment them. So you get the same great taste of a kimchi without that kind of funkiness you normally get from a regular fermented kimchi. The octopus, we braise it in its own liquid. So little people know that when you cook octopus, it actually, all the liquid from it actually leaches out because it's, 99% water. So when that all leaches out, we actually cook the octopus in its own liquid. So we don't have to add another flavor like vegetable stock or a court bouillon, some people like to call it. We don't have to add that, so we're just cooking it in its own juices. And then finally, we sear it on our 600-degree plancha and with a little weight on top to give it some of that crispy skin. It's tender, crispy, and then it has a great little spice, a hint of spice with the ají amarillo.
I love that. You always know when we've got a chef on the show. It's not just a 15-second description of the dish. I have so many questions, not limited to the cooking the octopus in its own sauce, but tell everybody what Leo's is. What was Leo's concept initially? What was it supposed to be coming to River Oaks? And then what has it eventually grown up? It's kind of a teenager right now.
Yeah. And so, I started, I think Scott started almost 2 years back. I started a year prior to opening. And there was all these kinds of ideas of what we kind of wanted. And we went into kind of the after, going to the other restaurants in the area, Scott and I really wanted to make sure that this was another neighborhood jewel in the neighborhood crown, if you can say. This is a really popular neighborhood. Our guests have tried food everywhere, and they're either from the Montrose area, or they're from the River Oaks area, but they all kind of congregate in this beautiful neighborhood. So we really wanted to make a dining room that can appease to a lot, and also a menu and a wine list that can appease to a lot of people, and creating a lot of options that way.
Yeah, and it's tricky when talking about a wine list or a drink program, even your happy hour, because like you mentioned, not only do you have a lot of diners in this area who are going all over town, they probably just came back from London last weekend also, right? So you're competing with that too.
Sure, they have significant experience eating and drinking everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So the idea was for Tim and I to help create a menu, an overall aesthetic that really appealed to everyone, but also that finer upscale diner that we're going for. A couple of things we've done to help with that. We've put together a whiskey and tequila list that is second to none in Houston.
And that's a big deal for people.
People love that stuff. I mean, if they're a whiskey file, then this is the place for them. We also have,
good to know. This is a whiskey spot.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not a whiskey girl, but I know I have a lot of whiskey girls, and they like their spots. So
this should be a nice spot.
Okay, we're adding it to the spots. Yeah.
And then we have a wine list that is second to none. It's got while it might not have the quantity of certain places in Houston, it has got the depth, and it's got the finer wines that they would expect. We like to offer these options at a price point that is aggressive for the guest. I believe that wine is something that highlights every meal, and the easier it is to enjoy it, the more likely people will try it. And it's just something that should be, shared at dinner with friends.
So you're trying to make it more accessible.
100%.
Because the meal is just better when everybody is jovial and drinking and having a good time. So it's to their benefit to drink more. Bottom line, all we're trying to say is drink more at dinner. It's okay. Within reason, be responsible, have a designated driver, but drinking and eating at the table, that is the name of the game. That is how we have fun in a restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And what I do also love is that some of these drinks are on your happy hour menu too, right?
All of our signature cocktails and all of our classic cocktails are on the happy hour menu at 50% off.
I love that. Oh, that's a great price. Yeah, very accessible. All right, let's go back over to the Foodie Cam here at Leo's River Oaks. They just opened last October. Wow, y'all opened right into a busy holiday season.
We did.
And then you jumped off the cliff in January. All right, here we go. What are we looking at, Jeff?
So this is our charcuterie board. We kind of have a rule with our charcuterie board. It changes all the time. We buy different kinds of cheese. We buy different kinds of sliced salumi, and we pickled random vegetables, and that's kind of what it comes with. And so like for us, always exploring. Right now, I'm kind of really into the Wisconsin blue cheese. There's several states actually that are kind of known just for that. Like for example, Wisconsin, right? It's known for the cheddar, right? And the kind of, now they're getting into this aging cheddar, and now they're getting into blue cheese, which the blue cheese that I've tried from, I think it's called Blue Hook, from Wisconsin. I mean, this is like, it's probably one of the best blue cheeses I've ever had. And it's so impressive to see them kind of going into that. But anyways, in each plate, we'll say, okay, this week we have this kind of cheese, we have this salami, and it's coming with these pickled vegetables. Honestly, the pickled cauliflower, it's one of my favorite things. But it has a really delicious orange zest and turmeric flavor. And then finally, we have some roasted nuts and a little bit of roasted olives.
I see something on here, Chef, that you have neglected to mention.
The fig jam.
Yes. Can't forget the fig jam.
Of course not.
Where does the fig jam come from?
The fig jam, we actually make it in-house.
You do?
We do. So we take we take dried figs, and we have to clean them. We have to cut off all the stems, right?
Yeah.
And then we cook them in white wine and a little bit of vermouth, and reduce it down for about 3 hours. After that,
this is a dessert.
It's delicious.
Wait a minute.
And after this, we have to blend it, and then we pass it through a fine strainer, and that's always difficult, but it comes out with a great product. So
that's a lot of process.
It is
for a very tiny condiment.
It is, and
that you didn't even mention on the.
We sell a lot of it. We sell a lot of it, you know.
Well, yeah.
But hey, you know, it's delicious.
No, I love this, and this is such a great example of. A lot of places have charcuterie boards, and there's a wide range of charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
But when you see items like this, you realize, oh yeah, there's levels of charcuterie boards, and the fig jam is an excellent, and then the cauliflower. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's really good.
It's like orangey and citrus, and kind of, you know, you have it's really really tasty.
And I like how you have it on the side for full indulgence rather than just a few sparing in a salad, because it deserves it. Oh my goodness. High five, chef.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, back to the foodie cam we go. We're having way too much fun, and we haven't even gotten to the drinks yet. Okay, what are we looking at, chef?
So this is our 8-ounce filet, and it's topped with our crab edition, or kind of similarly a crab cake. And it's just accompanied with, all of our steaks are accompanied with confit tomatoes. It's kind of our garnish, our kind of ode to steakhouse dining, where something is garnished. Everyone has their own signature, you know, garnish, whether it's, you know, a roasted carrot or a sprig of roasted rosemary or some garlic, right? I opted out for doing the confit tomatoes. They're confit with garlic, rosemary, onions, all that stuff that you already put on the plate. So for a normal steakhouse, and then we kind of did that on the side. And then to just speak a little bit about our filet comes from Meat by Lynn's out of Chicago. Very, very consistent product. They actually invited me to Oklahoma to go to one of their farms, their cattle ranches.
How was that?
Well, I'm invited, so I'm going to go there in October.
Have you ever been out to a big commercial cattle farm?
I have not. I'm really interested, and you know, it's really it's really I've been you know, gone around a little bit here to, like, you know, backwoods kind of cattle ranches and stuff. There's one out in Humble that I've been to, but nothing of this size. So I'm actually really, really excited. The crab edition was kind of that take on a crab cake. Rather than making a fried crab cake, we actually take jumbo lump crab, plenty of herbs, a little bit of panko, right? And we kind of fold it all together, and then we cook the steak with it on there, right? So you get the flavor of the crab and the blubber throughout the steak.
Combined.
Yes, and that was kind of the reasoning behind that.
I love that. Yes. Now, tell me a little bit about your background, because I know you're very creative and these dishes are very personal to you. Tell us where you come from.
So originally, I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. I went to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, for those who don't know. CIA, it's the secret. You know. Now I have to. Now that I've told you, okay, you got to
be a pretty good chef to come out of there.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. What really, just kind of a small note on there. It was great to be in an environment with everyone else who cares the same amount as you. And the one thing that they teach there overall, not just food science or ordering or inventory, what they teach you there is hospitality. And, you know, even the janitors would, you know, yell at you if you didn't hold the door, you didn't turn behind you to see if somebody's walking behind you. If you, after you're done washing your hands and you didn't wipe up your, you know, your sink. And this is just in, you know, this is in regular class.
School.
Yeah, this is in school. I mean, they were really intense, but when you walked out of there, you said, man, you know what? I am the most hospitable person that I can be. And that's what I think really helps you kind of, it changes and defines restaurants, right? Sure. You can have great food, you can have great service, but is it hospitable?
Sure.
Do you feel welcome there? Do you feel that, do you feel at home?
Yeah.
You know, and you can feel at home in a fine dining restaurant. You can feel at home in a diner. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, but you really have to make sure that hospitality is your first drive.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
it's nice to talk to a chef who understands that. Let's go. All right, let's go back to the foodie cam here at Leo's in River Oaks, right here on West Gray, next to the infamous and iconic River Oaks Theater. Oh my goodness, chef, what are you doing back there in the kitchen?
Okay, so this dish really, it took a long time to kind of create. I know it's just a whole roasted fish, right? That's what we call it, whole roasted fish. However, we decided to remove the head, the tail, the fins, everything that the guest usually doesn't order a whole fish because of.
Yeah.
And we actually used a protein binder to glue the two fillets together. All right, when I say glue, it's a protein binder. I mean, I don't know, you know, you're gonna call it like what
edible
it is.
glue.
Yes.
Protein.
Yes. And then it's filled with some of our maitre d' butter, which is a herb and garlic butter, and some arugula puree. It's seared on both sides, finished off in the oven, roasted, and then finally it's on top of, we just call it green sauce, which is a pretty cool name for it because it is just green. But it's a bunch of different herbs like cilantro, basil, scallions, a little bit of honey, touch of red wine vinegar, and some jalapenos, and you get this really, really good umami flavor to the dish, fresh herbs, and that's it.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where to start. The arugula puree.
Yes.
That's a first for me.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
So actually, when I was interning in Germany, I was interning at a 2 Michelin star restaurant for about a year. And they had something that was called arugula cream. And the only way they were able to make it is using a special piece of equipment as it's called a Paco jet.
Paco
jet, yes. So it's basically, the way I like to describe it is is an upside down blender. Okay. And
sounds expensive.
Yes, it is. But it creates some really good product. So basically, you take arugula, you blanch it off. Blanching, just boiling in water and then putting it in ice water afterwards. And then what you do is you pack it inside of this little beaker, freeze it, pull it out, and then put it into this machine. And it has to be frozen in order to use. And then since it's frozen, the blades are so sharp and so strong that it thinly shaves everything and turns it into a puree.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
It's delicious.
Oh,
it's
my
really
goodness.
Good.
The process.
Yeah.
The process. Like,
it's all about the process.
But it's such a great example of the attention to detail, putting into practice what you learned at the CIA, and also knowing how important that experience is for the diner, because at the end of the day, they're going to know if you take the fig jam out of a jar from HEB. We love HEB.
Yes. Yeah.
Go buy their flour tortillas and butter tortillas and put some of this on it, and that's great. But they'll know.
Right.
And that feeds into the hospitality connection and the feeling, right? Like, because when you want, what you do want is you want the guests to feel, like you said, at home, but you also want them to be wowed at the flavor, right?
Absolutely. And the hospitality here is second to none. Our staff knows and appreciates that when the guests come here, you know, they're going to spend some serious money.
Yeah.
So it's unfair to expect perfection, but that is the expectation we have for our staff. There's a lot of great restaurants around this area, and we aim to give the best service that any of our guests can experience in Houston.
This is really a work of art, Chef.
Thank you.
I mean, is this something you conceptualized in your head and then you're like, okay, how do I make this happen?
So it comes down to, I can take a traditional item like a whole roasted fish, and I ask myself, what is the problem with it?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think whole roasted fish is lovely for myself. I would get that all the time when I go out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know the general public avoids whole fish because of the head, because of the scales, because of whatever, right?
The logistics
of it. And I totally appreciate that. So I'm going to go make the extra effort and make a dish like this so the guest doesn't have to worry about it, and they can just enjoy the whole fish without all the rest of it.
Yep.
And really, it's a lot of work. However, this is the first restaurant that I've worked at where I sell more whole fish than I ever have at any other restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's because we're doing it like
Figured
this.
out the answer to the test.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back over to the foodie cam. We're going to take a look at another dish, and we might even have a breaking news announcement for you. All right, chef, what are we looking at here?
So this is our pan-seared Ora King salmon. Our Ora King salmon is brought in from New Zealand. It's some of the most fattiest, well-flavored salmon on the market. It's simply seared with salt and pepper, turned over, finished with a little bit of lemon juice. And then finally, we make a really beautiful beurre blanc sauce, which is essentially it's stock and butter. We've actually kind of combined a little bit of vegetable stock and fish stock together, just so you can get some of that fish essence taste out of it. Just reduce down, finish with tarragon, dill, a little bit of parsley in there, sauteed spinach, and underneath the salmon is just a little bit of candied almonds.
Oh, chef.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of that classic play on, like salmon almondine kind of, but again, it's just done in a different way, just so you can add some different texture, and leave a really nice clean plate. So I mean that salmon is actually wonderfully cooked. I mean, you can see how flat that skin is and crispy skin. Please, everyone, eat the crispy skin. It's good for you. I promise. Yeah. I promise. I see it all too often. People take the skin off, put it off to the side, but it's really supposed to be there. It's supposed
good.
to be part of the dish. Yeah.
And I've noticed too in your dishes, there's always something, a little something like the honey or the almond or this or whatever that I'm not expecting. The arugula puree, like
right.
Just every dish I've seen right now, I've been like, oh, I didn't think of that, or oh, I haven't heard about that. And so this is probably a good enough time for the breaking news. We've got a very fun and exciting announcement because y'all, Leo's for the very first time participating in Houston Restaurant Weeks in August. Yes. Woo! Cheers. This is an incredible.
We're also going to the filet that you enjoyed.
Ooh.
We're going to do that with a crab edition on top for Houston Restaurant Week.
Oh, my goodness.
We're very, very excited to have that on.
Well, this is very exciting because we love having new restaurants join the program, but y'all are basically some HRW OGs. You've been around for a while.
Quite some time.
Back in the day with Perry's and some other restaurants. And so this is definitely going to be a spot to come for HRW, especially if you haven't been here to Leo's. You got to meet these guys. Come on, y'all. Come in for a happy hour. Do folks see you in the dining room? Are you pretty visible?
They do. I usually stop by. Actually, Scott, both Scott and I, we stop by a lot at the tables, especially for the guests, for first timers, especially for happy birthdays. I myself, I go out, and say, wishing you a happy birthday. Thank you so much for celebrating with us. Scott compliments anniversaries with a Prosecco or champagne. And it's just really nice touch, and to have such a strong general manager and chef duo to be in the dining room. And also, I mean, I have to shout out to my chefs and the cooks who are able to do service while I can be able to jump out to the dining room. I mean, hats off to them.
Sure.
But they really, really accomplished a lot. So.
Well, that's amazing. All right, y'all, let's go back over to the foodie cam for one more dish to take a look at here at Leo's River Oaks. Oh my goodness. All right. What are we looking at?
This is a very special dish. This is our bread and butter. It comes with our 1847 sourdough, which is actually from one of the executive's wife's family. It's a sourdough starter from Texas from 1847. And we were able to take it, revive it, make a couple tweaks on it, but you have a beautiful, that's on the left-hand side. It's a beautiful, beautiful bread. And then on the right-hand side, it is the brioche that we make in-house as well. And then finally with a brown cultured butter for the side.
All right, y'all. So we learned that we've got a place for whiskey, we've got a place for sourdough, and a place for dining out and doing good. Houston Restaurant Weeks will be here in August at Leo's. Stay tuned, though, guys, for an extra serving of Foodies and Friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.